you're watching Sustainability, a Cradle to Cradle Perspective by Team TBA, Tammy, Ben, and Abby, where we'll discuss the book Cradle to Cradle by William McDonough and Michael Braungart. According to Cradle to Cradle authors William McDonough and Michael Braungart, the best analogy of the Cradle to Cradle theory is a cherry tree. Now consider what a human-built world would look like if it was developed by a cherry tree. Think about how beautiful the tree is with all of its blossoms. When the fruit develops, we appreciate its contribution to our palate and nutrition. And even when the leaves have fallen from the tree and are blown and spread about, we appreciate and understand every part of the tree's contribution to the ecosystem. If we produced goods with a cherry tree in mind, the goods would not make it to the waste stage. The goods would fall away from the manufacturing or development phase and be absorbed into another system for a useful purpose. A cherry tree has no waste. Every part of the tree, living or dead, is used in the Earth's ecosystem, as part of a cherry tree's function as one living system. As a result of this, the cherry tree also exemplifies the zero to landfill concept that Peter Senge discusses in The Necessary Revolution. Theorist Thomas Malthus believed that humans should have less sex. He believed that the rate of human production, and hence population growth, would rapidly outstrip the rate of food production and result in widespread devastation of humankind and the earth. Rachel Carson, in her book Silent Spring, acknowledged that she believes that we are actually killing our planet and ourselves. She also discusses how humans are releasing chemicals and toxins into the air from all of our factories, farming, and landscaping. Recycling is just a band-aid, and if we want to really correct the issue, we need to think holistically through the entire life cycle of a created product. Most recycling is only downcycling a product. Both are expensive to business and expose the dangerous aspects of the product. Although downcycling is less bad, it is still not good for the consumer or the earth. We need to include analysis of the acquisition of the raw materials and the energy cost and waste of production. We need to plan for the comprehensive reuse of the product's materials when it reaches the end of its life cycle. We need to become eco-efficient, which will allow us to do more with less. Senge states that using the life cycle assessment to see all views of products and processes will enable everyone involved to see the larger system. This will open up opportunities for us to create new designs, processes, and products versus discovering new ways to dispose of them. It is time we start thinking about different ways to go about our daily living. Think about the buildings we live and work in. Think about all of the materials that surround us daily. There are books made of trees and toxic ink. The computer we use to put together this presentation cannot be easily recycled or reused. It's an end product, the same as the carpet under our feet, which may contain toxins. We need to begin thinking about all that we consume and identify if there is a way to redesign these items with their end materials in mind. By this, the authors mean that we should begin looking at these items from a technical perspective, examining the composition of all of the materials to see if there is a better way to reduce the effect that these materials have on the earth. If we can elucidate how to use non-toxic, quality materials that can be easily broken down, we could create good byproducts that could be reused again and again. One example of this process is the paper used to construct the book for which we are discussing, Cradle to Cradle. The text used for this report and presentation is not made of paper from trees, but instead is made of a synthetic composition of plastic, resins, and inorganic fillers. McDonough and Braungart state that all sustainability is local. The authors suggest that everything from the molecular level to the regional level is all interdependent. They go on to say that we must connect human systems and industries to everything from the local material and energy flows to the local customs, needs, and tastes. The local economy must be considered as well. In order to build a sustainable world, the local environments and economies must be strong because they ultimately impact the larger system. It's an irrevocable relationship that must be considered when thinking green and striving for sustainability. The key to building strong local sustainability is to think about the effects the process or product has on the larger system, from the moment the idea is conceptualized. This begs us to consider the economy of the product, the food, not the waste, that the process will create, and the impacts and benefits to the local community. According to authors McDonough and Braungart, local sustainability is more than thinking about the materials used and produced. The use of local materials will not only stop bioinvasion through transfer by inducing a non-native invasive species to a new environment, but it also helps local citizens build successful businesses. In some cases, we humans have created bioinvasion and not transferred it. Wastewater treatment plants are a prime example of this. Historically, we've treated our wastewater with chemicals and not relied on nature to restore a natural byproduct to food again. The world's developed countries should be taking advantage of natural nutrient flows, like places in Sylva Jardine, where they use a clay pipe flow system that feeds into a settling tank. From there, the effluent flows into a series of small ponds that are now home to an array of plants and water life. Just as we can compost the kitchen and yard waste into our own backyards, we must attempt to locally compost all of the byproducts of manufacturing and the remnants of products at the end of their life cycle. We can turn this compost back into new products without the risk of bioinvasion. One direction that local businesses can consider is the 5 steps to eco-effectiveness. As we talk about those 5 steps to eco-effectiveness, the first issue is that products are not always free of potentially toxic chemicals. For example, detergents may now be free of certain toxins, but many companies have simply replaced those with something much worse. What started as an attempt to become eco-effective has then failed. Going organic responds to the production issues of food, but does not address the potential damage that the production and deposition of the packaging materials may introduce into the environment and to the food itself. Rethinking design starts with a fairly crude filter. Think about what goes into a product that could make guests at a dinner party sick. And remember, this is just the first step in adopting eco-effectiveness. When we don't take time to see the system, we produce goods and services that do not offer long-term solutions to sustainability issues. As we discussed in the previous slide, chemicals used to treat or contain products are not always safe. We must insist that companies be transparent with the chemicals they are using. Step 2 encourages us to consider our own personal preferences, keeping environmental impact in mind. McDonough and Braungart proposed lists of substances distinguished by an X, a P, and the gray list. The X is substances to be aware of, the P list is positive substances, and the gray list is problematic but not urgent substances. As with cars, we should not be concerned with the design. We've mastered that. We now need to focus on the process and the materials that make up the design. Creating and activating the positive list is steps 3 and 4. The 5th and final step is to reinvent. Consider this. What if a vehicle was created that would give back to the earth rather than pollute it? Is it even possible to do such a thing? Working to create a sustainable world, we must gather minds that truly believe that anything is possible. One example would be tires. They can be harmful in many ways. However, what if they had the capability to clean the road as they traveled down it? What if every part of the vehicle had a dual use, before and after its life? It isn't possible to change everything overnight, but with one steady step at a time, a lot can be accomplished. Interdependence seems to be an absolute necessity for sustainability. Currently, we are dependent on many of the Earth's resources, and likewise, we may have caused the Earth to become dependent on us for its survival. We've been called to action. From this point forward, each one of us will take a personal and professional interest in the topic of sustainability. There are many different ways to make contributions to the system. Even though we talked about recycling as just being downcycling, it is still an important cog in the system. Each one of us can recycle at home and encourage recycling programs at work. As we live, work, and play, we must think environmentally. We can use what we've learned to help us make informed decisions, from purchases to career choices. We know how to score products and companies, and will use those scorecards as a tool to make decisions and to educate others. The cradle-to-cradle theory is now the framework for our future. We have been equipped with knowledge about sustainability and have learned training skills. Through speaking engagements, consulting, networking, and social structures, we can give voice to the issue of sustainability and inspire others to act. Each of us has pledged to become environmentally proactive rather than environmentally reactive. We must not wait until problems arise to make changes. Each of us will continue to learn to see the larger system and think long-term sustainability strategies. To do this, we will need to collaborate whenever we have the opportunity. Collaboration leads to shared knowledge and opens doors to innovative and creative ideas. One person, one company, can only do so much. The key to expanding the vision to system-wide view for everyone is to start local. We each have the capacity to lead on a local level and will commit to doing so. We will do this by giving voice to the issue and developing innovative strategies to present to those around us. Through the sum of small changes, bigger changes are accomplished. We need to constantly rethink our previous as well as our current decisions through a prism of environmental consciousness. This environmental consciousness must reflect the entire life cycle of the production process, from the acquisition of raw materials to the disposition of the remains. The solutions may surprise us. The tungsten filament light bulb may be more environmentally sound than our current high-tech fluorescent light bulb du jour when all factors are taken into account. This holistic environmental consciousness must become an integral part of the creative process of product development, manufacture, consumption, and disposition. And when fully integrated into these processes, we may develop a sustainable world where waste becomes food. Thank you.